There comes a moment in every life when the heart must confront the truth it has been trying so hard to avoid. We walk through this world longing for connection, searching for someone who sees us, values us, and cherishes what we carry within. But sometimes, in that search, we stumble into a trap that looks gentle on the surface, yet leaves us weakened within. The trap of the soft boy, the one who speaks softly but confuses our spirit, who offers attention but not commitment, who stirs emotions but never stands with us in the light of honesty. Today, I want to speak to the part of you that has felt the weight of those mixed messages, the ache of waiting for clarity that never came, the exhaustion of trying to understand someone who never intended to be understood. You are not here by accident. You are here because your heart is ready to rise, your spirit is ready to reclaim its direction, and your worth is ready to be honored in a way it was never honored in that confusing connection. This message is for the one who has given too much, forgiven too often, and settled for far less than they deserved. It is for the one who feels the quiet pull to stand up again, to see through the charm that blinded them, and to step boldly into a future no longer defined by someone else's uncertainty. Today, you begin to break free. Today, you begin to see the trap for what it is, and yourself for who you truly are. When you move through life, you meet people who carry a shine that feels almost magnetic. They speak softly, they listen intently, they make you feel like you matter in a world that rarely pauses long enough to look your way. And in that glow, it's easy to believe you've found someone genuine, someone who sees your value the way you've always wished others would. But sometimes that shine is only a mask, crafted to pull you in just close enough for their convenience, not your growth. The soft boy doesn't lead with harshness or arrogance. No, he leads with warmth, with vulnerability, with the kind of charm that feels safe. But behind that charm, behind the gentle eyes and the poetic words, there is often a motive that isn't aligned with your heart in your life. You've surely felt that moment when someone's attention made you feel chosen. It's powerful, isn't it? You stand a little taller, breathe a little deeper, believe a little more in yourself, and that feeling is real. But what's not real is the promise they imply without ever speaking it. The soft boy specializes in almost committed, almost consistent, almost trustworthy. And those almosts are what keep you stuck, waiting, hoping, believing that if you just hold on a little longer, they'll finally step forward with all that potential they keep flashing like a lighthouse in the distance. But a lighthouse that never guides you home isn't a blessing. It's a distraction. Understanding the mask means recognizing the pattern. When their words pull you in, but their actions leave you confused. When their interest ignites only when you pull away. When you feel drained more than uplifted, anxious more than appreciated. That is your signal. That is your truth, speaking louder than their charm ever could. And you owe it to yourself to listen, because your life is meant for connections that build you, not break your confidence. For love that grounds you, not games that make you question your worth. When you see the mask for what it is, you reclaim your power. You stop chasing the version of someone they never intended to be. You stop settling for crumbs when you were made to sit at a full table. And you rise into a life where your heart is honored, your time respected, your presence valued in ways that never require you to shrink, doubt, or wait for someone to choose you in a way they never will. There comes a time in your life when you have to look at what you're accepting and ask yourself if it truly reflects the greatness that lives inside you. Emotional breadcrumbs are those tiny moments of affection, those sudden messages after days of silence, those small gestures that feel sweet but never add up to anything real. They keep you hanging on just enough to believe something meaningful might grow, even though your heart already knows it won't. Someone who gives half-hearted love knows exactly what they're doing. They give you pieces, never the whole. They give you comfort, never commitment, And yet, because those pieces land when you're vulnerable, when you're hopeful, when you're tired of being strong all the time, they feel bigger than they actually are in your life. You've accepted crumbs because you cared, because you hoped, because you believed in the potential you saw, not the reality they showed. But the truth is simple. Your heart was never meant to survive off scraps. You weren't created to settle for almost. You deserve someone who shows up fully, not someone who drifts in and out when it suits them. Someone who brings clarity, not confusion. Someone who chooses you in the light, not only in the quiet moments when they're lonely or bored. Half-hearted love will drain you, because you keep pouring your whole heart into something that was never built to hold it. And deep down, you can feel that imbalance every time you're left waiting, wondering, questioning your worth over someone who never gave you real proof of theirs. When you stop accepting emotional breadcrumbs, you're not being unkind. You're being honest. Honest about what your soul needs. Honest about the love you're ready for. Honest about the standards that match your strength, your resilience, your spirit. You deserve someone who doesn't make you beg for consistency, who doesn't treat you like an option, who doesn't disappear the moment you ask for something real. You deserve love that fills you, love that fuels you, love that makes you feel seen without having to fight for attention that should have been yours all along. And the moment you believe that, the moment you decide you are worthy of more than bits and pieces, you rise out of those patterns that kept you small. You walk toward relationships that honor your heart. You step into a life where you don't chase, you don't settle, you don't shrink. You simply receive the love you were always meant to have. The love that matches the fullness of who you are. There is a moment in your life when you have to confront the truth you've been dressing up, polishing, and protecting. Mixed signals can feel exciting at first. They pull you in, keep you guessing, make you believe there's something deeper hidden beneath the inconsistency. You convince yourself that the confusion is part of the journey, part of the chemistry, part of the story you're meant to live. But what you're really doing is romanticizing uncertainty, painting over disappointment, and calling it connection. The spell begins when you start valuing what someone could be instead of who they're actually showing you they are. When someone is hot one moment and cold the next, your heart starts working overtime. You replay conversations, analyze gestures, try to find meaning where there is none. You cling to the highs because they feel powerful, and you excuse the lows because you're afraid the story might end. But mixed signals are not a mystery to solve. They are a message that this person isn't ready, isn't consistent, or isn't capable of giving you the clarity you deserve. And deep down, you feel the weight of that truth every time you're left questioning yourself after trying to read between lines that were never meant to guide you. Breaking the spell means facing the reality you've been avoiding. It means admitting that the little moments of affection aren't enough to justify the emotional chaos. It means acknowledging that someone who truly wants you won't leave you confused. They won't make you feel like you have to earn the basics of affection, attention, or respect. They won't keep you wondering whether you matter. Clarity is not something you should beg for. Consistency is not something you should chase. Real love doesn't ask you to decode anything. It reveals itself in the way it shows up, again and again, with honesty and intention in your life. The power lies in choosing what aligns with your peace, not what sparks your anxiety. When you stop romanticizing mixed signals, you reclaim your emotional strength. You stop pouring your energy into maybes and start investing in relationships that feel steady, grounded, and real. You rise out of the whirlwind and into a space where love is steady, communication is clear, and your heart is no longer hanging on to hope that keeps slipping through your fingers. You step away from the noise, the guessing, the waiting, and you finally walk toward the love that mirrors your worth, your clarity, your truth. knowing that the moment you let go of confusion, you make room for something far greater to enter your life because you finally chose yourself and the peace you've always deserved and the love that was meant for you from the start, and you begin to breathe again knowing you no longer have to chase what was never meant to hold you in the first place. There comes a point in your life when you get tired of carrying the weight of uncertainty, tired of waking up wondering what someone truly feels, tired of shrinking yourself just to keep a fragile connection alive. Confusion drains you in ways you don't even notice at first. It steals your confidence, dulls your shine, and makes you question your instincts. But deep within you, there is a strength that has never left, a power waiting for you to reach for it again. Reclaiming that strength starts with choosing clarity over confusion, choosing truth over wishful thinking, choosing yourself over someone's unreliable affection in your life. Clarity is not just a decision. It's a declaration. It's you saying you will no longer entertain mixed messages, no longer settle for half-ex, blamed emotions, no longer interpret silence as something meaningful. Clarity means you stop painting red flags white. It means you stop giving someone credit for potential they never act on. It means you finally listen to what their behavior has been telling you all along. And when you choose clarity, you choose peace. You choose direction, you choose emotional freedom. That choice doesn't come from anger. It comes from wisdom, the kind you earned through every confusing moment that taught you what your heart can no longer tolerate. Reclaiming your strength also means remembering who you were before doubt took root. You were bold, you were steady, you were grounded, you didn't second guess your worth, you didn't chase validation, you didn't dim your light hoping someone would finally notice. That version of you is still here, waiting for you to step back into your power. And when you do, your life begins to shift. You stop begging for answers. You stop trying to decode someone's inconsistent behavior. You stop settling for connections that make you feel unsure of yourself. Instead, you move toward relationships that honor your truth, where communication is simple, where affection is stable, where your value is understood without negotiation. Choosing clarity over confusion is choosing to rise. It's standing tall with the understanding that your heart deserves honesty, deserves consistency, deserves intentional love. And as you walk forward with that mindset, you will feel the strength you thought you lost returning to you. You will feel your spirit expanding again. You will feel your confidence rebuilding. You will realize that clarity isn't just a choice you make. It's a gift you give yourself every single day because your life was never meant to be lived in uncertainty, and your heart was never meant to survive on doubt, and your spirit was never meant to stay small in the presence of someone who couldn't love you clearly in the first place. There comes a moment in your life when you have to stand up and say enough is enough. You realize that staying in a situation where your emotions are toyed with, where your time is undervalued, where your heart is treated as optional, is not a sign of love or strength. It's a trap. Walking away is not a failure. Walking away is not weakness. It is the purest act of power you can ever claim for yourself. It is saying to the world, and more importantly to yourself, that your life, your peace, and your dignity are not negotiable and will not be compromised for someone else's convenience in your life. Power is not about control over others. Power is about control over yourself, your choices, and the environment you allow to shape your spirit. When you build a life that cannot be manipulated, you refuse to let someone else dictate your emotions, your decisions, or your self-worth. You set boundaries that protect your energy, your heart, and your dreams. You recognize that love, respect, and loyalty are not optional. They are non-negotiable. And when someone cannot meet you there, when their actions show inconsistency or selfishness, you do not beg. You do not argue. You walk away. Walking away with power means doing it with grace, with clarity, and with no regret. It is not about burning bridges or holding grudges. It is about lifting yourself above the noise, above the drama, above the patterns that try to pull you down. It is about creating space for opportunities, for relationships, and for experiences that are in alignment with your value. It is about knowing that the right people, the right situations, and the right love will meet you at your level, not ask you to lower your standards, compromise your integrity, or question your worth in your life. This kind of power transforms you. You start to walk taller, speak clearer, and act with unwavering intention. You stop reacting to manipulation and start responding to life with purpose. You build a foundation rooted in self-respect, authenticity, and strength. And as you continue to rise, you inspire those around you to do the same. You become a living example that leaving what diminishes you is not just an act of courage. It is an act of creation, the creation of a life that is untouchable, unshakable, and unmanipulable because you have finally chosen yourself and your peace above all else, and in that choice, you discover freedom, dignity, and the true measure of your power. And now, standing here, I want you to feel the truth that has been quietly waiting for you all along. You are stronger than the doubts that cloud your mind. You are wiser than the confusion that tried to hold you captive. Every moment you spent questioning yourself, every tear you shed over someone else's inconsistency, every ounce of energy you poured into someone who could not match your heart, was preparing you for this very moment. This is the moment you reclaim your power, the moment you choose clarity over chaos, the moment you step fully into the life you were always meant to live. Walk away from what diminishes you without guilt, without hesitation, without looking back. Let the lessons guide you, but do not let them chain you. Trust that your worth is not determined by someone else's attention, your value is not defined by someone else's choices, and your heart is not theirs to manipulate. Embrace the peace that comes from standing firm in your boundaries and the freedom that comes from honoring yourself. Your life is yours to design. Your spirit is yours to protect. Your love is yours to give, but only to those who meet you fully. And when you finally live like this, you will see the truth. Freedom, dignity, and joy are not found in someone else's approval. They are found in the unwavering courage to choose yourself every single day.